You've been doing a great job, man. You know, I've been saying it for a long time. You have some very good productions. I hope you've inspired other, Black YouTubers to step their game up.
I'm trying, John.
Freezy, No Captivity, right on. Channel's supposed to be more for the people. Well, all I'm going to say is this. No Captivity, Freezy, welcome to the gun line, sir.
We got us the gun line.
Tell them about the gun line, boss.
This is the gun line. It runs from shack to shack, clear around the yard. You are now inside the gun line.
You are now inside the gun line. We got some things going on. Good morning, Vietnam. Let's get to it.
Subscribe to my channel.
This conversation right here with him and this gentleman named John is about the Austin Metcalf scenario. I made one valid point inside the chat. What are y'all even talking about? What is this dude even talking about? Nothing you're saying actually matters for one specific reason. You cannot have a knife on school grounds. There's nothing we can say that's going to change that point. You know what happens? When I put my next text in, I get timed out. Wait a minute. So I said, no, am I bugging? So I types in again. And it says, you have been timed out by no other than who? It doesn't say Freezy. It says the content creator account. Basically, Freezy timed me out. Why would you time me out, Freezy? Because of my comment. I didn't make an irrational comment. I didn't say anything that was wrong. I gave a truthful analysis of what transpired. But yet you're sitting here entertaining a whole conversation about nothing. And then when somebody brings something to light to you, maybe because you're missing it, I don't know, Freezy, maybe you, sir, are just letting this prolong because it's entertainment-wise, which is cool. But there's no intelligence being said on your part because timing me out, you know all the videos you made about Anton Daniels? He don't time nobody out. We're going to start it off like this. I found the one where his analyst in the green, Nightbreaker 6296 says, Uncensored. They wasn't at a school. The bottom line is if the jury will see his actions are reasonable. Okay, you can say the jury can see his actions is reasonable. First and foremost, they were most definitely out of school. What are you even talking about? Did you even see any of it? Do you know anything? Because if you don't know it was at a school, at a football game, and he was in the wrong team's tent, why are you even commenting? That's my thing right there. See? Okay, now then I respond. At Nightbreaker, they were at a school. It happened at a football game at the school. And then, as it goes on, because they're talking, the gentleman says something. And he says something I can't remember at this point, but when we're playing the video, he's going to say it again, and I will remind you. But my thing was, I said, it doesn't matter. You can't have a knife on school grounds. How does anyone not understand that? I guess I meant Mr. Not, but how does anyone not understand that? You cannot have an illegal weapon on school grounds. What is this? This is not rocket science. It's no way, shape, form, or fashion. But that comment, you know what that comment got me? Timed out. I just had to give my spill because I know people are going to see this and wonder like, yo, why is Freezy on his screen? That is the reason why. But let's get to the show.
Yeah. So I know you don't shy away from, your true thoughts, John, on this, and I think you've reported on this in the past as well too, as far as Carmelo Anthony. This whole incident is very polarizing, which I expect that we live in the United States of America. We're moving closer to the trial, and the news just reported that all of the stipulations in the trial. No lie. It won't be live streamed, right? No negative paraphernalia, T-shirts, signs, of anything of the sort in the courtroom. And they will allow like 9 media personnel to have first seating in the court. It's going to be a closed court. Do you think that actually helps Carmelo Anthony or it hurts Carmelo Anthony?
Well, I think for the greater society, it's probably not good, right? The more transparency, the better. I think the evidence, whatever it is gonna speak for itself.
Yeah.
If he was assaulted and he was exercising self-defense, Texas is pretty lenient as it relates to self-defense. I don't think race will come into it, to be honest with you. If he was, But man, I want to throw a curveball to you, honestly. And here's the curveball that I think probably a lot of the black people in your chat and all over the country. Why was he going to that school? You ever been to Dallas before?
No, I've never been to Dallas.
I've been to Dallas. I got friends there. I got friends living in Oak Cliff, South Dallas, wherever. I can't remember the name of it, but I definitely remember Oak Cliff. But he lived in an area with very few blacks. Why is that?
Well,
right?
They said that his dad worked for a car lot company, and his dad made a substantial amount of money. Was making a lot of money. So,
but the odds are they weren't rich, right? Probably weren't rich. The odds are.
Timeout. Flag on play. We got to blow the whistle, because in that moment is when I started putting my comments in. Wait a minute. Hold on. Texas is lenient on self-defense. Okay, cool. Are we missing the whole fact that the young man had a knife? Like an illegal weapon at that? So you telling me in Texas you can kill somebody with an illegal weapon even though they assaulted you? Yes, you might get away with the assault, but you had an illegal weapon. Why did his father move away to where they move in an area with such few blacks? What? Why does that even matter? You can't move your kid to a better environment? Is this is what we're preaching now? You can't make more money. Me, I can't make more money. You can't make more, and then we can't take our kids and move to a better area than in which we grew up in? We can't do that no more, huh? Okay, let's continue though.
They probably were, if you want to be fair, and this is not criticism.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
They probably were living a little bit over their heads.
Think so?
Probably running. Listen, I'm a landlord. They're probably running from people. Didn't want their child to go to school with people that look just like Carmelo. This is just raw honesty. No one wants to talk about these things, I understand. But every day I take calls from black people who don't want to live around other black people. That's real. The Carmelo Anthony's chose to go live in an area where there's a majority white. And black people, I deal with black people every day, bro. It's my business. I know how to talk to black people, what not to say to black people. What I can say to black people, when to back off, man, my bad. They understand. But we have different temperaments. And you put a black boy who may not be as rich as some of these white kids, and it's a fairly affluent area. I mean, it's a powder keg, honestly.
So Carmelo Anthony went to Centennial High School, and so I actually got that wrong. When I was reviewing the video, I was saying Austin Metcalf was a Centennial student. No, Carmelo Anthony actually was a Centennial student, and Austin Metcalf was a Memorial High School student. Centennial, are you saying Centennial High School is like a
Look up the demographics of the school.
high grade high school or whatever?
You know what this looks like? People having conversations above their means. You understand what I'm talking about when I say that? Above, in which their brain cells can compute realistic analytical thought above nonsense. That there is no other way to put this. How you don't know nothing about the school? What do you, man?
They probably weren't as rich as those people.
Yeah.
What that got to do with anything?
Heads, trying to get away from the Carmelo Anthonys. These things is just true. I live in DC. They're proposing a youth curfew. Most of the kids look just like Carmelo Anthony. What are you trying to say? They look different from him? They look just like him.
I think how much money his parents probably had or still have is kind of speculation. We do know that they did have enough money to live in that area. And reportedly, his dad was making a lot of money. He had just got a promotion. And they wasn't hurting for anything. You know, I think, you know, the woman that Carmelo was calling his mother at the time, I think it was his stepmom, right? Yeah, they weren't hurt for anything. And I think that we should give them credit where credit is due for his father to be able to furnish that type of lifestyle and comfort for his family, especially his kids, right?
We don't know how comfortable they were. And then, you know, Freezy, it's all relative, man.
How is speculation relevant? He doesn't know what that man has. We don't know. How is speculation that is absolutely redundant at the least have anything to do with anything?
I've been on trial before. It cost me $50,000 for a gun charge. This boy here facing serious murder charge. And all the black people can come up with was $100,000. Bro, like they done burnt through that. The lawyer done burnt through that already. Filing motions to make sure he get appeals if he's convicted, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else been on trial, you know how it works. What's upper middle class?
Upper middle class is definitely, I think upper middle class is definitely in the six-figure range, probably like $200,000, something like that.
Bro, you get hit with a murder charge, that six figure, you're gonna be like you have nothing to defend yourself unless you go to public defender.
It could get, yes, I agree with that. It get costly, right? And I'm gonna show you this right here too, John.
They've been living like they weren't facing murder charges. They got cars and houses and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like, they got expenses, right?
Now, is it me, or what does his expenses, his cars, or anything have to do with the fact that he did what he did? What are we talking about? But let's continue though.
The 17-year-old charged for murder in Texas track meet stabbing raised over $500,000 by late May 2025 to cover legal defense, relocation, and living costs. So at the time, they were able to raise over $500,000. The total exceeded $515,000 by early May, with some reports indicating an initial goal of $600,000. So the $160,000 might have came later. That might have been, you know, closer to now the $160,000. So so it's safe to say that the Anthony family has raised probably close to $700,000 or $600,000.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, man, like, again, you know, the bigger question I have is like, and I live in a black community. Why won't the blacks living around their own, I think a lot of these problems would be resolved. This wouldn't have happened if he was in a black school, because you just know how to talk to each other to avoid these type of things. But carrying a knife to a school meet, initially they were trying to say it was a damn spike sharpener or something like that. You know, if you get back to the point of the income.
Can you see why I started typing away with my little Twitter fingers inside the chat? How did that even make any sense? What do you mean? He said if he was in an all-black school, that wouldn't have happened. Is it shit me? Really? They carry guns in all-black schools. What are you talking about? How can you say that? Now, don't get me wrong. He do have a point too. You don't really hear of black schools with having big shootings, right? But they do have incidences, multiple upon multiple gang assaults and all types of things. Maybe that's why they moved their kid to the suburbs to try to get away from that, and still winding up. See, here's the thing: he's not. You can move the person, but the mindset changed when the person moved. If you're a person that grew up in the hood, that grew up physically fighting and doing things, and you go to the suburb, especially with that, that mindset's still with you. Don't change. But we're going to let them carry on, though. Because he's having a good old time. That good old, and just seeing he had a nice good old. See, that's why he started not making no sense. And I got timed out. Why? Because that's your friend. That's how you run your platform. So you run platforms that y'all just gibber and gibberish away. Just gibber about concepts that you don't even know exactly what you're expanding on. Tisk. Nasty work. But let's continue though.
Right? There was no intent. I didn't run because I didn't know I committed the crime. In Carmelo's case, I was defending myself. What the hell I'm running for? Right? That's an
You
argument.
think it helps Carmelo that he didn't? Oh, so you're saying that he shouldn't have ran?
It hurts that you ran.
It hurts him that he ran.
Right. It hurts that you ran.
So if you was in fear for your life and you wanted to get away from a hostile scene, would you blame someone for running away from that hostile scene?
Think about it. When you pull out that knife, man, people running from you. Right? Like after you hit the first man, everybody else scattering. Just think about it. Like that's what the video probably is going to show. People aren't running to a man, wielding a knife. They're running away from him. And so that's that would seem to make sense to me. That doesn't say he's not exercising self-defense. But
let me ask you something, John. Have you ever got jumped before?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So let's say more than one person is trying to make physical contact with you and harm you severely. And you felt in your pockets and you felt, you were able to feel like something sharp that where you could actually hit somebody with to just get at least the initial attacker off of you. When you see, you see what's about to transpire. You see you about to get your ass whooped. You're like, it's more than one person is approaching you. And you see the potential of this whole situation, but you're able to get at least one person off you, the closest person off of you, by stabbing them one time. Are you going to sit around while the other people to see what the other people are going to do, or are you going to run?
That was the worst analogy I heard, and worst analogy. Now, first of all, it happened on the school grounds, not in the street. If it was in the street, it'd have been a total different argument. It happened at a football game on school grounds. And he didn't stab him one time to back him off of him to see if anybody else was willing. No, He stabbed him until, rest in peace to that man, young man, that is. Oh yeah, there's more though. We're gonna continue.
You grew up poor, I grew up poor, right?
Yeah.
When I grew up poor, man, I remember people coming across the street to my grandma's house.
And after you get done with that, John wants Swar, did he go? Go ahead.
Let me get a cup of sugar. Let me get a cigarette. That's how it is living in the hood, right? That's how it is, right? You would agree. Now, you got these blacks who probably haven't made enough money to go live out in Frisco, but they stretched their budget to go live out in Frisco. And they realized that they don't have the money to live out there.
And this is when I got timed out. Do you hear what he's... What does that have to do with anything? This is my questions. What are we talking about here? Is this for real? Are we having a real discussion here? Like trying to solve a problem that's in the community? Or are we just chatting? Like what's transpiring? What is he talking about right now? But hey, who am I? I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's just continue though.
How you doing, Freezy? What's going on, John? And peace to everyone in the chat. Shout out to the moderators and everyone in the chat. So I wanted to talk about this situation from a self-defense instructor perspective, from a practicing martial artist, as well as somebody who teaches self-defense. It looks like here that the twin brothers were trained in jiu-jitsu. Are you guys familiar with jiu-jitsu a little bit?
No.
It's an extremely dangerous martial art where it teaches different variations of chokes and joint locks. The chokes can be fatal. For example, there's a technique in jiu-jitsu called the rear naked choke. And if you hold someone in a rear naked choke long enough, I would say more than 20 or 30 seconds, you could cause permanent brain damage. And it can be fatal. You actually can unalive someone with certain techniques in jiu-jitsu. So to deal with one opponent that is trained in jiu-jitsu is pretty tough to overcome if you don't have any martial arts training or if you've never trained in jiu-jitsu. It's really hard to defend. You know, the Gracie family made a fortune and a big following in the earth because of the dominance that they displayed and showed in practicing jiu-jitsu. So it's an extremely dangerous martial art to practice. So somebody who's been practicing jiu-jitsu for 3 months is pretty dangerous, Freezy. They don't necessarily have to be at the intermediate level or at the advanced level to be dangerous. Yeah, somebody doing it for 3 months is dangerous, you know.
Hey, Freezy, let me ask you this question.
When you look at Carmelo Anthony John, would you be okay with me finishing, sir?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. I went
so
sorry.
When you look at it, when you look, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. So when you're fighting two people by yourself, even some two people that are not trained in the martial art, your life is in danger whenever it's one person versus two. So when two people attack you, that's a life-threatening situation. And how much more so when you're fighting two people who are trained in jiu-jitsu where one person would be dangerous. So to have to fight two jiu-jitsu fighters by yourself is pretty tough to overcome, especially if they outweigh you. So I say that to say that, you know, I don't even like teaching jiu-jitsu the chokes that like triangle choke on the neck or like a rear naked choke or like a guillotine choke. I don't like teaching my children that are students those techniques because I don't think children yet have the discernment to know when they're going too far or not with something like that because it can be fatal. So just from a life-threatening perspective, fighting two people by yourself, your life is already in danger. But how much more so when you're fighting two jiu-jitsu practitioners who have a history, it seems, of bullying. So I'm interested to see the film of what actually happened in this situation. And I just wanted to bring to the audience's attention as somebody who is 13-1 as a kickboxer. I'm 1-1 in mixed martial arts, and I've taught the martial arts for over 10 years. So I just wanted to give the perspective of how dangerous somebody can be trained in jiu-jitsu and how when you are by yourself fighting more than one person, your life is in danger, regardless of whether or not they're trained or not. So I just wanted the crowd, the chat, and you guys to understand from Carmelo's perspective how dangerous of a situation that could have been.
Well, let me ask you this question. Who do you think the footage, because there is footage, benefits in the court when they finally
I
release
mean,
the
when you
footage?
look at the word,
It's a one or two.
when you
It's
look at
only two people.
justice, well, when you look at
It's only
justice and where it derives from, which is the word just, we don't really have a history in America of being treated justly or
I just
being
asked you a
given fair
question.
due
When you
process
see
and
the
justice.
footage in
So
court,
when
man, come on.
you look
I
at
didn't ask you for a
the
history lesson.
footage,
When you see the footage in
um,
court, who do you think it
okay,
would
sir, I'm
benefit?
talking, sir, and I can answer however I
I'm saying,
want, John.
like,
Remember,
I'm
John,
just
you
asking.
turned down my fade. So why don't you just be quiet, sir?
I turned down your fade. What are you talking about? I'm just saying,
You did.
like,
So why don't you just be quiet, sir? I'm talking.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. All desire.
to an objective observer, who do you think? Who do you think the film would benefit? Do you think it would benefit Carmelo's case? Yes or no?
Yes, it would benefit Carmelo's case.
Okay, so if that is the case, then one would think that Carmelo's family would be demanding the release of the tape, the footage. Release my boy innocent. The footage will show he's innocent. Correct? Am I wrong with that assumption?
Well, you could be wrong with that assumption. Their legal team may be advising them not to speak on it at all. So, yes, you could be wrong with that assumption.
You see that just now? He playing mixed signals. You could be wrong because the families wouldn't, the lawyer might be about. What lawyer is going to advise a family not to put out a videotape that clears their kid? You tell me. You make it make sense because I can't. I can't make that make sense. None of it. What do you mean? Listen, don't get me wrong, the jiu-jitsu brother and whatnot, even though he shot the joint at John, you just turned down the fade. That was a vibe. Like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. You know, he has a valid point. If they do know jiu-jitsu and then you got the other brother coming at you, possibly trying to do the same jiu-jitsu. Yes, we're not disputing the action of him keeping himself alive. We're not disputing that. The problem isn't the fact that even though, listen, okay, you can say he was in the wrong tent because they don't even know about that. They didn't even speak about anything. Nothing about the actual facts of the case. Nothing. They just expounded on a bunch of, I don't know. But anyway, this is what we're going to do. Because I don't know what they had going on, but I could tell you one thing for certain, two things for sure. It wasn't the right thing in my opinion. I'm not going to say in theirs because in their opinion, I guess in Freezy, he thought this is good content to make. But so I can't say anything about that. Only thing I'm doing right now is giving you a point of view of my angle. And I told you already why I'm doing this. You time me out in the chat when I'm making real talking points instead of shallow, meaningless, nothing to do with nothing rhetoric. I'm giving you real life talking points and you time me out. That was, sheesh, man. That was just downright diabolical. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's his channel. I can't be mad about that. I'm not mad about that at all. Well, rubbed me a little wrong way, but I ain't mad about that. You know what the thing is? I can't say how a person should run their network, their channel, what they doing in their business. But I can say this. When I come across on this YouTube streets and or internet avenues with this branding, Uncensored New York TV, I do my best to give you the fact that's out there with analytical points that are actually as true as possible or have something to do with the topic itself. And if I don't, and I'm in a live and somebody, types in something, a reference, maybe I'm just wrong or maybe I might just be missing something. I'm going to take that in. because I'm not bigger than the program. I'm here with you. That's the point. It's supposed to be us, isn't it? That's the point of joining when you watching somebody, especially in their lives. Unless everything is just meaningless. Everything we doing is just basically for nothing. There's no educational point. There's no learning nothing. There's no evolving. I'm still not mad at Freezy. Shout out to Freezy on his channel. If you like that content, please stay over there and enjoy it. But this over here, this right here is the evolution of information. Documentary logic broken down at a street level. What does that mean? It's the interpretation of public narrative through verifiable moments. Hence the word verifiable moments. Other than that, y'all already know this. This is your boy TW. But you know what that title, rather that description, means more than anything? Don't never play yourself. This Uncensored New York TV.
Checkmate, motherfucker.